This is part 2 of analyzing the themes of movies from a screenwriting and engineering perspective using what I call the symbiotic plot. Watch part 1 for more context. Spoilers for all movies in the description. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish uses the change diagram. Puss had 9 lives, so the spare lives caused him to spend his lives without care. The problem is that death was coming since he was on his last life. Puss's carelessness towards his lives is why he loses to death. Now, Puss makes the choice to get the scroll to get his lives back so that he can continue his previous careless lifestyle. His change event is spending time with Kitty. His new belief is that his one life matters and he'll fight for it. He makes the choice to give up on the scroll and his 9 lives. This resolve and belief allows him to defeat death. In the climax, he continues life with no spares. Toy Story uses the change arc. Ironically, Woody starts off telling others the lesson. It doesn't matter how much you're played with, what matters is that you're there for Andy when he needs you. Woody was Andy's favorite toy, so he believes that he needs to continue being his favorite. This is an issue when Buzz arrives and replaces him as the favorite toy. Woody makes the choice to try and hide Buzz behind the bed, but his plan goes wrong and Buzz is knocked out of the window. Woody's problem is that he has to bring back Buzz. His solutions fail at key points because of his belief. Buzz doesn't listen to him, and Andy's toys don't help him when he's in Sid's room. Woody changes his belief to working together to make Andy happy, and not valuing the rank of the favorite toy. He makes the choice to save Buzz. In the climax, they both work together to return to Andy. 7 uses the change diagram. Somerset begins the movie believing the world is not worth fighting for, and makes the choice to retire. This is fueled by the depressing city he lives in. The problem is that he's placed on a case with an idealistic partner, Mills. Early, he also makes the choice to be reassigned from the case, but the captain refuses. As they work together, Somerset begins to believe in hope again. He makes the choice to see the case through to the end. The climax doesn't have an action related to the theme, but the aftermath does. Somerset says he believes the world isn't a fine place, but it's worth fighting for. "I'll be around" implies that he isn't quitting anymore. 12 Angry Men uses the debate diagram. Each of the jurors have different backstories for believing that the boy is guilty. They are assuming based on limited evidence, and their choice to vote guilty and argue against him supports that. This creates the problem of Juror 8 having to defend him. He believes in not assuming guilt and makes the choice of standing against them as a one-man army and carrying the counter-arguments. In the climax, they all vote not guilty, having been convinced. When Harry Met Sally uses the change diagram with Harry at the center. Harry's ex-wife cheated on him. His initial belief is don't move on. This is executed through him dealing with the grief of his broken marriage in unhealthy ways. He's still hung up on his ex-wife. There isn't a specific event, but he eventually changes his belief to move on, and is displayed in how he handles sleeping with Sally. He moves on quickly and thinks little of it. This causes the problem of the 2 leads fighting and no longer talking. His change event is being alone on New Year's Eve. He goes back to his belief, don't move on, but in a healthier way. He doesn't move on from Sally and chooses to confess to her in the climax. They get together and is happily ever after. Crazy Stupid Love uses the change diagram. The problem is that Cal's wife divorces him. With the introduction of the bad mentor, Jacob, Cal is taught to move on. Jacob tells him that she'll rue the day that he left him once he's completed his training. Cal makes the choice to sleep with multiple women to regain his manhood. His new confidence initially impresses his wife, but she's disgusted when she finds out about his one-night stands. There isn't a specific change event, but he doesn't get over his wife and tries fighting for her. But then a fight breaks out at his golf course, causing him to give up again. The final change event is when his son makes a depressing speech about giving up on love in the climax. Cal changes his belief to fighting for love and makes the choice to reconcile with his wife through a grand gesture. The result is that they go back to being married. It's interesting that both of these rom-coms tackle the idea of move on versus fight for it. A Few Good Men uses the change diagram. The problem is murder committed in the Marines. Kathy, the main character, had a legendary lawyer father, so if he loses a case, he won't live up to expectations. That backstory fuels his belief in lazy justice, which leads him to aiming for a quick outcome before interviewing witnesses or doing any research. The change event is Joe's persistence and missing puzzle pieces. Kathy's belief changes to pursuing true justice, and he starts taking the case seriously, even if it risks his good record. When the case gets harder, he hesitates and chooses winning over the truth, but then more suspicions bring him back. He almost quits again after the witness dying makes it nearly impossible to win, but then he chooses to go all the way and risks his career by putting a decorated officer on the stand. In the climax, Kathy defeats Jessup when fighting for the truth. Last is Star Wars Episode 3. It uses the change arc with Anakin as the focus. He starts by believing in logical for emotions. He obeys rules, stays with Obi-Wan against the Senator's advice, and even initially refuses to kill Dooku since it's not the Jedi way. A major problem arises. Padme will die. Yoda, the good mentor, tells him that death is a natural part of life and that he should learn to let go. Palpatine, the bad mentor, tells him that the dark side can save her, tempting him to lean into his emotions. Anakin makes the positive choice and turns in Palpatine as the Sith Lord. The change event is Windu trying to kill Palpatine, which goes against the Jedi way. Anakin stopping Windu allows Palpatine to further manipulate him. His new belief is emotions over logic, which leads to him killing the younglings and fighting Obi-Wan. In the climax, Anakin loses and Padme dies. These were movies from different genres, yet all of them used one of the two diagrams from the symbiotic plot. These formulas are some of the biggest contributors to the quality of the films. Join me for part 3, where I analyze a couple more movies.